to the fourth branch program. Glad you can make it. I am MD. This program is dedicated exclusively for those with common sense, a spirit of patriotism, and a determination for a more perfect union. Stay tuned as we begin the discussion of a very important, interesting, and enlightening topic. Hope to hear from you soon. Happy listening. Hello everyone, I am MD and this is the fourth branch program, the place for common sense. Welcome. Today we have two very special topics we will be talking about. The Green New Deal, which is a topic which addresses climate change. We will also take a look at the road to 2020, a journey to unseat Donald Trump from the Oval Office and restore decency in the presidency. Stay with us as we discuss those and other topics which might impact your lives and those of future generations. You are on the fourth branch program, the place for common sense. I am MD, host of the fourth branch program, inviting you to join me every Saturday at 10:30 a.m. and every weekday at 2 p.m. for discussions of social political issues and to dissect the meaning and the importance of current events, as well as to understand topics of legislations. The Fourth Branch Project is not associated with any political party, and we at the Fourth Branch do not have any political agenda or aspiration. Our ultimate objective is to work towards achieving a more perfect union by removing ignorance, the biggest obstacle to our democracy. Stay with us. We will be right back. We begin this conversation today talking about a very special topic, the Green New Deal. Now, it is not necessarily an exciting topic to talk about, but the bigger question is it a fight worth having? Now, the Green New Deal is just the expression used by the newly minted Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez in her fight to work towards climate change, at the very least to make an impact on climate change. This is nothing new for the United States of America or the world even. You may recall that Al Gore has been fighting since the 90s about that very topic. For a reason that's sometimes impossible to understand, the Republican legislators have always opposed anything that's beneficial to the country, anything that's beneficial to the constituent. Now we know the reason, but we are baffled. If I were to ask you to take a knife and stab yourself, would you? Now I'm not talking about people who are suicidal or people who just want or depressed. I'm referring to a normal individual to whom that suggestion is made. Would you take a knife and stab yourself? The answer is probably not. Would you put a gun on your head and pull the trigger? The answer is probably not. Now, as harsh as those examples are, this is exactly what Republican legislators have been doing to the constituent first, their constituent, and to the country. Now, this is the second part that is of importance to me because I am a selfish individual. I probably would say, the hell with the Republicans, they decide to do themselves harm, so be it. Because there is so much that can be done for someone who just flatly refuses help, for someone who simply does not want any kind of guidance, and no matter how wrong that individual is. Climate change is not a political debate. It's not, because it impacts and affects everyone, whether you are a Democrat or Republican or independent, or if you choose to be nothing at all. A change in the climate will impact you the same. There is no cover. If something happened to planet Earth, which is the only place we, mankind, have, which is the only place so far that is generous to our lifestyle, to our way of life, despite years, decades even of research, and despite promises made by those scientists, we have yet to find a place for us, mankind, to go to and be able to live the way we live here on planet Earth. As such, anyone, any logical individual would want to preserve that precious environment that you have. Don't you agree? Why would you not? Now, the difference between pulling the trigger or stabbing yourself and see the immediate aftermath of such is the destruction of our planet that's gradual. We have been steadily, gradually impacting the planet we live in. Resources are being depleted, which is logical. 2 million years ago, there were not that many people on this planet, if any. Now we have, what, 7-8 billion people and growing? In other words, there is a need to use more of the resources in this planet. To put it in perspective for you, if you go and buy a gallon of milk and you only have you and your spouse, your partner, whoever that happened to be, that gallon of milk, depending on how much you drink, your partner drinks, it may last you a week or even longer. But if you add 2 kids to the to the equation, automatically that gallon of milk may only last a day or two. This is the same principle for our nature, for planet Earth. The more people on this planet, the faster the resources are being depleted, and of course, other impacts we, mankind, have because we have worked aggressively to improve our way of life, and we have also come up with ways to make things much easier for us. And doing that requires, or would say not necessarily require, but we end up doing things that definitely impact the planet. We have locomotion. We used to have just small, slow ways of going from one point to the other. Today, however, we have so many different ways of going from point A to point B. Planes, cars. As such, you don't have to be a genius to understand that our planet is being impacted by all this new evolution, these technologies. While they're useful to us, they make our lives easier, but there is always a cost associated with those things that make our lives easier. So we don't really need a scientist to tell us that. And yet we have scientists who provide documentation, data that clearly show that we are at a point where it's not just that we are depleted the resources in this planet, but we are also very gradually destroying the planet. A lot of people who smoke, or used to, when they find out that smoking is bad for their health, they make drastic change in their lives. They do whatever is necessary to change their lifestyle in order to live just a little bit longer. But for reasons that sometimes baffle the mind, we have steadily going just our way, our life, destroying the planet. And when that's presented to us, not just telling us that we are destroying the planet, but presenting a plan to slow down that process, suddenly we have one political party that decides, the hell with that, we just don't care. Ask yourself the question, why? It's not that Republicans have a different way of weathering whatever damage that's being done to the planet. As I say many times in this program, your Republican legislators do not care about you. Your Republican legislators do not care about the country. We have many examples, but since we're talking about climate change, we'll stick to that and prove to you that they just don't. What they are good at is spinning the conversation and scaring the constituents so that they can stick with them and continue on the path to destroy anything that comes in conversation. And one such thing is, of course, the climate. But if you have common sense, even if you have the average intelligence, the question that must be asked is, why would legislators who are also members of the human species, why would they not pull together resources with whomever, whatever party, and try to leave something for the next generation, for our children, for our grandchildren? Why wouldn't they do that? The answer actually is not complex at all. Republicans legislators are more concerned about the job that they have, even if it means to kill their constituent, literally speaking, even if it means to destroy their health, to destroy the habitat. As far as they're concerned, they want instant gratification. What the hell am I talking about, you might ask? You see, if you embark in the journey to curb the type of action we're doing here in this planet, how we impact the climate, automatically it brings another topic into the conversation. Let me introduce you to someone who has that particular topic close to her heart and decided, after making history by defeating a 10th-term incumbent in New York, 14th district. That's a district that represents the Bronx and part of Queens, New York. After defeating the incumbent, now she went in the general election 2018 midterm to defeat Republican opponent and become the youngest congresswoman in history. Meet Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Now, you can say whatever you want about any individual, any legislator. Most people who run for public office, they have something in mind, an issue, something that they are very passionate about, and they decide no one currently in Washington or in their state addresses the problem, so they're going to be the voice for that particular topic. And Miss Ocasio-Cortez decide that climate change is the big issue that she wants to tackle. Is the fight worth fighting? Miss Cortez is only 29 years old. Unless some major planetary catastrophe happen, she may not live long enough to see the impact of the damage that we humans are currently doing on planet Earth. Maybe her grandkids or great-grandkids may, but chances are, again, she will not. But just like myself, I am very, very concerned about future generations. As such, it always frustrates me, it always irritates me to see that we have individuals, legislators, who would rather crush any hope for the future generation, because what it does for those legislators, it put money in their pocket, it helps them to keep their job. How so, you might ask? The reason that Republican legislators are against any climate change legislation is because if they go down that path, and if they try to debate this important topic, they will have to go along with legislation that punish those industries which pollute, those industries which deplete resources that are necessary for our life. The air that we breathe, the water that we drink. There are plenty of industries, especially those industries like oil industries. They will be affected, their business will be impacted, and Republican legislators consider those businesses more important than the lives of their constituents. And I don't mean that as an hyperbole either. I mean, literally speaking, Republican legislators would rather their constituent die or suffer or have health problems than going along and doing anything not only to preserve or to spare them of that problem, and also to preserve the planet for future generations, because it provides them instant gratification. By protecting those industries which damage our planet, they are guaranteed, the Republican legislators that is, they are guaranteed that they will get financial support when they go for election or re-election. Because if you look beyond this aspect, there is no other reason that any legislators whose primary job is to do what beneficial for their constituent, there is no other reason for the Republican legislators not to jump and say, let's save the planet, no matter who brings the idea forth. And yet, here we are. Miss Ocasio-Cortez has been suffering the wrath of the Republicans, both legislators and networks such as Fox, who has been going after her. But what I will show you shortly is disturbing in two ways. One, it shows the ignorance of the people whose very lives will also be spared by this initiative that Miss Cortez has taken, assuming that she is successful. But also those individuals, instead of looking at that as the opportunity for everyone here in the United States of America to dive into finding a solution, because it's not just the Democrat that's going to suffer, it's not just the Republican that's going to suffer, everyone will. So why would anyone goes against something that will help you, that will protect you, that will make future, that will preserve this planet for future generations. If you think education is expensive, well, try ignorance. Ignorance, they say, is the biggest threat to any democracy. Indeed, it is. Plato, a Greek philosopher born in 427 BC, said that ignorance is the root and stem of all evil. Today, members in the Republican Party wear ignorance as a badge of honor, while the rest of the country watch powerless the destruction of a country which was once the envy of the world. The media is the enemy of the country, said Donald Trump. The Democrat legislators are obstructionists for not going along with everything the president wants. The Department of Justice is biased for investigating corruption in the Trump administration. This is the United States of America. Any question? Donald Trump is wrong to call the media the enemy of the people. Throughout history, dictators, authoritarians have always tried to delegitimize the media in order to get away with corruption, scandal, and yes, even abuse. Adolf Hitler did exactly the same thing in 1933, accusing the media of fabrication. Journalists are not in the business of fairness. Our only business is to be objective. It is our duty to hold Trump and every administration accountable. Today, it is urgent. It is necessary. It is critical. Our very freedom depends on it. What I'm about to show you is a video of Newt Gingrich talking to Sean Hannity after they finished praising one another about the great job that they're doing. They jump on the bandwagon of Miss Cortez, more specifically about this very topic that we just discussed, or we are discussing: climate change. Let me have you listen for a short excerpt of that conversation, and then we will come back and wrap up this conversation about climate change. We also will bring this topic tomorrow, during which time we'll spend a bit more time talking about climate change. If this planet disappears, we will cease to exist. If this planet can no longer sustain our lifestyle, we will not be around long. So it is important to talk just a tad more about it. Now let's listen to Newt Gingrich and Sean Hannity giving one another tap in the back to encourage themselves as to how great they're doing and how good it is to talk about Miss Cortez.
To compete with you on radio, I know how hard you work and how good you are at it.
You filled in my show in years gone by, and you used to host on radio stations in Atlanta all the time.
And I want to tell everybody who's watching, I have tried to do what you do, and I admire you and I admire Rush.
Well, thanks.
Because you guys spend so many hours preparing that it's real work.
It's everyone that said, well, everyone has one good talk show, and what are you going to do on day 500? That's what I always say to people. Let me. So here we have the new Green Deal. No planes, no cars, no oil, no gas. Everything's free, and no cows. That bothers me. And she says, accused the Wells Fargo CEO of caging children or financing it. Don't worry about being automated out of your job. Does that mean we'll have robotic socialists that just utter the same words every day? Because that's what a lot of Democrats do.
You know, I've been trying to understand how to put, as a historian, in context what we're watching. In a normal, healthy society, Alexandria would be seen as this interesting graduate student who had gotten into some college with a good student loan, hung out a lot, smoked a little grass, drank a little beer, had a good time, once read half of a book, knows nothing, and nobody would take her seriously. I mean, in a healthy society, she would be a joke.
Now, what you just heard, we will play the whole tape for you tomorrow when we discuss the climate change. Now, I took issue on what you just heard, because climate change is not a joke, and no matter who brings it for discussion, for debate, however you feel about that individual, on television you have someone who claims to be a historian, Newt Gingrich, talking to someone who can really barely spell his story, and getting on the bandwagon of a congresswoman who happened to express very high interest in solving one of the most difficult problems in our lifetime. Now, Mr. Gingrich see that in a healthy society, Miss Ocasio-Cortez would be seen as a joke. I took offense in that because it is a racist tone, and I say that not because it is. Would Mr. Gingrich say the same thing about another individual, a white woman, who is a graduate from one of renowned university in Massachusetts, cum laude et art. She graduated cum laude, and she would be a joke because her job would be to just drink beer, smoke weed, and she would be a joke. Now, I asked the question yesterday, I'll ask it again. Why? Because she's not white? Because the last time I looked, Donald Trump doesn't have, not in terms of education, not in terms of any education, what Miss Cortez has. And yet, Newt Gingrich and Sean Hannity praise Donald Trump as some great heroes, But here is Mr. Gingrich on television, and Mr. Gingrich is not a stupid person. Of course, he's defending his the money that is being paid to say those things. I understand that, but this is a step too far for two reasons. One would expect someone like Newt Gingrich to understand the importance of climate change and at the very least offer his view on the climate change, not his view on Alexandria Cortez. And that's what Republicans are so good at, because they have an audience who also do not care much about the actual issue, but would rather go after the individual trying to do something, not just for the Democrats, but for the country, for society, for the world. Climate change is not a Democrat issue. Now, here we are, Newt Gingrich, because he's paid some money to come on Fox, but he could only use his brand as a historian to take a look at a healthy society and see Miss Cortez as, well, the society would look at her as a joke. What would not be a joke for Mr. Gingrich? She did pretty well in school. She was very attentive to what she went to school for, and she managed to show that at least she has something. She has a vision for the country, something that will benefit not just Democrat or Republican, but something that will benefit society, future generation. Now let's take a look at Donald Trump, shall we? It is sometimes mind-boggling to understand what exactly do Republicans want to do for the United States of America. What do they want to do for the country? What do they want to do for future generation? Now, he is someone who's been on the block for quite some time. Newt Gingrich has been on the block. Now, he used the time. He could have made good use of that time that they gave him, that they paying him money to come to Fox. But instead of doing that, he displayed his platitude towards another one, because if he doesn't say those kind of things, he's afraid that they would not invite him any longer because, well, he needs to make money. And the way for him to make money is to go to a network that simply do not care about truth, that does not care about the constituent, that does not care about the country. So what do? You look for individual, and that's what Peter O'Rourke said, not Beto, Peter O'Rourke said, news broadcasts used to look for people with information and broadcast it. Today, networks such as Fox look for people with ignorance and spread it around. And that's the crisis our country is going through. Now, he is an individual, a young individual who could have just gone about her life and enjoy life, but instead decided to do something for the country, decided to put herself through this kind of public scrutiny. Everything she said, everything she does is scrutinized. But as anybody in life, she will make her share of mistake. That's acceptable. That's going to happen. But one cannot minimize the importance of what she she has in mind to help save up. I am certain she may not be able to come up with all the necessary solution for that problem, but bringing that particular topic for conversation, the country as a whole should embrace that, and everybody should work towards finding ways so that at the very least we can leave this planet for the future generation. And what do people like Newt Gingrich and Sean Hannity see? Well, they not only everything that Sean Hannity said before he asked the question to Newt Gingrich is a lie, it's distortion of whatever that Miss Alexandria Cortez tried to do. But Sean Hannity relies on the ignorance of his viewers to swallow whatever that he said. And then for Newt Gingrich, instead of being the bigger guy in the being the historian and propose something to that effect, this is an important topic. Instead of doing that, what did the historian do? Try to diminish Alexandria Cortez's importance. She would be a joke. Why? Because she's not white? Because I'm not sure I see the joke here. Donald Trump threatened high school and college from releasing his transcript because we can always guess that it would be a joke to see it. And that's the only reason anyone would go to that length to protect it. Because if you have nothing to hide, you can go into my college and find my college transcript. Because I am very proud of what I've accomplished. And I don't have any problem going to and find that out. The reason that people hide something is because there is no pride in it. And yet here is Newt Gingrich that's been praising Donald Trump for the great job he's doing and has the gall to go after Miss Cortez personally, not what she proposes. Because it's one thing that you may not agree with something and try to dissect it and try to destroy that argument. No, there was no argument about what Miss Cortez proposed. Everything that Newt Gingrich said was about Miss Cortez personally. In a healthy society, she would be a joke. Now, I'm sure that Fox viewers must love that because he is the historian, tell them exactly what Miss Cortez is. What did either Sean Hannity or Newt Gingrich propose in climate change? What did you hear? Well, join me tomorrow. You'll hear the whole conversation that Newt Gingrich had with Sean Hannity and tell me exactly what do those people, what are their values for the country. We'll be right back.
In 1996, a small network by the name of Fox News was launched with just 17 million viewers. Today, with over 100 million people watching regularly, Fox has become the greatest threat to our democracy, constantly bombarding the airwaves with false information, distortion of facts, and outright lies presented to its audience as news. Fox has created an army of blissful ignorance. According to a survey, 82% of Fox viewers are ignorant of facts and the truth. To keep millions of people in ignorance not only prevents democracy from flourishing, but it also clears the path to authoritarianism, to dictatorship. Martin Luther King Jr. said, "Nothing in all the world is more dangerous than sincere ignorance and conscientious stupidity." Let me finish by saying that democracy cannot survive in an environment where truth and facts do not matter. At Fox, truth and facts do not matter. Indeed, democracy in America is in jeopardy. It is a crisis the country can no longer ignore. If you join us for the first time, we strongly encourage you to visit the People Branch YouTube channel. There you can follow the step on the screen and go to the People Branch to search for topics that you may have an interest in. For instance, for the climate change we just discussed, there are several videos on the People Branch YouTube channel that talks about the role of EPA in our nation, and those videos discuss in very lengthy detail as to what's been happening to our planet and how you, as a citizen of this country, as member of the human species, ways that you can help to slow down the process of eroding the resources in the nature. Now, while you're in the People Branch YouTube channel, I encourage you to subscribe to our channel and also to follow me on Twitter and on Facebook. We will send you invite, we will send you update, and we will also keep you abreast of what is going on in on the Fourth Branch. So do not leave the People Branch YouTube channel without subscribing. It is that important.
After reading several books based on presidents and on Obama specifically, I found that they're typically partisan. The Obama legacy targets the heart of the issue by giving credit to the president where it's due, but definitely coming down hard on Obama on his bigger failures, like his handling of the Syrian crisis.
If you are in college, going to college, you are an educator, a faculty member, or someone with interest in government or politics, The Obama Legacy is definitely a book to read.
My professor recommended The Obama Legacy.
A friend actually recommended The Obama Legacy.
I would highly recommend this book for anyone, whether for academic use or leisure reading.
I would recommend this book to anyone out there searching for an impartial and unbiased look into Barack Obama's tenure as president.
I would definitely recommend this book as a good read for both liberals and conservatives.
The road to 2020. You're already well aware of the fact that there are close at this point dozens of candidates in the Democrat Party which hoping to unseat Donald Trump from the Oval Office. It is a high priority for Democrats. it should be a high priority for the country. There are a lot of people in the Republican Party who voted Donald Trump in office. By now, it should be pretty obvious that they made a mistake. Of course, most of them refuse to admit it, but there are a lot of signs that clearly being displayed, that should tell any logical individual that was a mistake. You may recall that a few months ago, more specifically, I think it was November of last year, I published a number of videos which looked at the comparison between Donald Trump and Adolf Hitler. I had an earful from Donald Trump supporters that Donald Trump is no Adolf Hitler because, well, according to them, he has not killed 6 million Jews. I guess that automatically make him not Adolf Hitler. Now, in the People Branch YouTube channel, there are really tons of video which address this particular topic, so I'm not gonna spend time talking about it, but if you go to the People Branch YouTube channel, you'll find out that there are, and you search for, there are video that says something to the effect, can we compare Donald Trump to Adolf Hitler? And it went for, because we started showing, we actually went as far back as when Adolf Hitler was a young man and walk our way towards the time that Adolf Hitler became the ruler of Germany. So we wanted to give you an understanding as to how Adolf Hitler became what he became. He didn't start as a criminal, as a cruel individual. In fact, if you take a look at those videos, you will find out that Adolf Hitler, during the time that he was chancellor, he played by the book. He did everything just as it was supposed to. Germany at that time had the Reichstag and the Reichsrat, which are equivalent to Congress and the Senate. So Adolf Hitler did everything that was supposed to be done by the book. So when people are talking about Adolf Hitler, they think it's a dictator and it started out that way. It did not. Just like you see Donald Trump was elected president of the United States, Adolf Hitler was crowned as the Chancellor of Germany. I say crowned, but it's not really appointed Chancellor of Germany. So everything was done legitimately, everything was done by the book. And gradually, Adolf Hitler acquired more power, and at some point, he managed to get both the Reichstag and the Reichsrat to put out a legislation, a resolution or legislation that gave him plenary power for 4 years, called temporary plenary power. Translation: no one could question the Chancellor, because it was a time when they manufacture the Nazi. Of course, up to today, there were action that happened. They never could. Germany could never find the sources of the problem, but it is very suspicious it was done by the Nazis in order to provide this ability, or this opportunity rather, that opportunity for the Chancellor, at that time Adolf Hitler, to grab more power. So don't make any mistake that when people are talking about Adolf Hitler as a dictator, as one of the crueler leaders in the world, as if it happened overnight, Adolf Hitler just walked in as a dictator. It did not. So when I created those videos, I discussed Adolf Hitler from childhood until he became the dictator that the world knew him as. It was a transformation. So we watching evolving under our eyes something that is as scary as it was during Adolf Hitler's time. And a lot of things that Donald Trump has done is exactly, you can just take it from Adolf Hitler's book. You see the idea that he's been calling the media fake news, fake news, fake news, fake news, right out of Adolf Hitler's book. Adolf Hitler used to accuse the media of fabrication. You see the lies that Donald Trump has been making on a regular basis that people lost count, right out of Adolf Hitler's book. Adolf Hitler even said to those close to him, if you tell a big enough lie and tell it frequently enough, it will be believed. Look around you. Look at the people who support Donald Trump. They believe any lie that Donald Trump tells them because he repeats those lies over and over and over and over and over. And you talk to anyone in Donald Trump's circle. So we are watching right under our eyes the making of a very scary individual. And the interview that Donald Trump gave the other day to Breitbart, if that doesn't scare any individual in the country, it's because you really don't know anything about world history. As such, the 2020 election cannot be just another presidential election. It cannot be another 2016. I ask the question, is your priority? Is it to support your political party or to defend the country? It cannot be both. It just cannot. You have to make a choice. You have to pick one. Because as it stands today, your party has been going against the United States of America. Everything that so far Republicans in Washington have done, they have completely relinquished their legislative duties and put the country on a path that we, United States citizens, will not like. And what is even scarier is the fact that this group of people that support Donald Trump do not have the intelligence to see that they are heading the wrong way. So it is to the rest of us to make decision to correct that. We were there before, remember? We had a civil war which was caused almost exclusively by individuals who were heading the wrong way. We were there before. So we know that the country has millions of individuals today who do not understand the decision that they're making. They cannot grasp the severity of supporting someone who is blatantly wrong for the country, who is openly inclined to become a dictator. Donald Trump even alluded to the fact that he has the police force on his side, he has the military on his side, and he has people that are ready to take action against those that whose primary job is to investigate him. Now, nobody believes that Donald Trump can do anything to anybody or can get the military to be on his side and fight against Democrats. Nobody believes that's the case. But it is chilling to come from the President of the United States. So the question is, what is your priority? Does the United States of America have any value to you? So the 2020 presidential election just cannot be just another election. It just cannot be. We cannot go into the 2020 presidential race and think it's just another election. It is not. The individual in the Oval Office must be removed for the sake of our nation. For the sake of future generation, we cannot afford Donald Trump in the Oval Office any longer. It is not just about him causing up to our enemies. It is not just about Donald Trump having no care, no interest for the country. It is about the fact that Donald Trump represents a danger for our nation. Donald Trump is the gravest danger that this country has had since its existence. You cannot sit on the sideline, or you cannot be voting for your party, because the country will no longer be, not for the next generation, not for the future generation, unless we as a country get rid of Donald Trump, because he is a danger. During the time that Donald Trump was having his spat with Kim Jong-un, everybody was, oh my God, there could be a nuclear war. A nuclear war, even World War III, cannot possibly cause as grave a danger to our country as Donald Trump himself. Because the very structure of our government, the very fabric of our society will no longer be if we as a country do not get rid of Donald Trump. He should not have been president because he is not qualified to be president, and we've seen the proof every single day. It is time that we as a country, not Democrat, not Republican, we as a country realize that there is something much bigger at stake. It is the future of the nation. It is the future of our country. Now, for those who still cling to Donald Trump, this is to be expected. Adolf Hitler had a lot of people clinging to him. Dictators always do. People who are doing evil always have plenty of people serving them. So this is not a sign that what Donald Trump is doing is right. It's just the way it is. There are always people who are willing to serve dictators, who are willing to be with criminals, and Donald Trump is not exempt of that. So those people who cling to Donald Trump, instead of defending our nation, we as a people should remember that very fact that the Republican Party as a whole have contributed greatly to doing the damage that the country has suffered. And you cannot just forget during the election that those Republicans are responsible. It is time that we vote for the country, not for a party.
In 1996, a small network by the name of Fox News was launched with just 7. I am MD, host of the Fourth Branch program, inviting you to join me every Saturday at 10:30 a.m. and every weekday at 2 p.m. for discussions of social political issues and to dissect the meaning and the importance of current events, as well as to understand topics of legislations. The Fourth Branch Project is not associated with any political party, and we at the Fourth Branch do not have any political agenda or aspiration. Our ultimate objective is to work towards achieving a more perfect union by removing ignorance, the biggest obstacle to our democracy. Stay with us. We will be right back.
I do thank you to have spent the time with me. I hope this information were useful. If you have any question, comment, criticism, suggestion, please don't hesitate to contact us. Should you have a topic you want to talk about, please forward it to us. We will research it and we will discuss it right here on the Fourth Branch program, the place for common sense. Have a good afternoon.
The Fourth Branch podcast is brought to you in collaboration with the People Branch publication, which can be found on the People Branch website, located at peoplebranch.org. That's peoplebranch.org. That's peoplebranch.org website, in which you will find a number of very
interesting articles. My name is Mike Duchesne, MD for short. I hope you have a great afternoon or a great evening, whichever it happens to be. Hopefully you can join me again next time for another interesting episode of this podcast. That was the fourth branch, live from New York. Good day.
Screaming out, stop snitching. What if Adam and Eve ain't eat the fruit? You think we'd be able to see the truth? Or what if Albert Einstein ain't think of the nuke? Or Smith & Wesson ain't teach us to shoot? You think there'd be as many plays out there if there was no boost? Matter of fact, what if white man hung off a noose? Would it still be cool to say nigga? Or maybe we would make sick figures? Or would we wanna be crackers? And all the whites would be rappers? What if Martin Luther King survived? You think the New Orleans flood would have caused him to drop and die? I wonder what if and see what is. Stand back from the picture and ask yourself why. What if life wasn't all you thought? What if everything you knew was gone? What if we switched to rights and wrongs? You think you'd change your route to the road we on? What if life wasn't all you thought? What if everything you knew was gone? What if we switched to rights and wrongs? You think you'd change your route to the road we on? If Christopher Wallace never got murked, how much money would Sean Carter be worth? What if Tupac never got hit with the flame? Would the game still have change filled with these lames? What if Jabari wasn't speeding down the street? What if the bullet Malcolm sent never hit Zeke? A black guy dropped off at the house instead of the stop? Or Ali never got bopped by the cops? What if the little homie Easy didn't die? Stand back from the picture and ask yourself why. What if life wasn't all you thought? What if everything you knew was gone? What if we switched to rights and wrongs? You think you'd change your route to the road we on? What if life wasn't all you thought? What if everything you knew was gone? What if we switched to rights and wrongs? You think you'd change your route to the road we on? I don't know. What if?